align your purpose with your business. I am Catie Harris, owner and CEO of NursePreneurs, and today we're talking about aligning your purpose in your business so that you can grow with it, right? So the purpose of a business can't just be to make money. I mean, money is just paper, right? You can't eat it, you can't dress with it, presumably. You can't talk to it and have a relationship with it. It's just paper. Right? The question is, what would you do if you had that paper, right? So the money itself is not really your purpose. Or it's not really your passion either. So when you're starting a business, the end goal can't be just money. And the people that do go into business and they just want money, they typically end up giving up very quickly because they have nothing to sustain them. Money comes and goes in a business, and in the first year it pretty much goes without coming. But when you really get into it and you start making major strides, then the money starts coming. But in that first year, you need something to really fuel the ambition that you have, because it's very, very easy to give up when you're in business. And the one way that you want to make sure that you're successful is to align your passion and purpose with the problem that you're solving, right? You have to, one, care about the problem, or two, care about the population who has the problem in order for your business to be really, really successful. And we do see this, and I had this experience myself, because when I first started, I was chasing money. I just wanted money. Like, how do I get more money? And I was tired of working overtime, so I thought, oh, I'll just start a business and then money will start pouring in. And that did not happen. Money poured out, but it did not pour in. It never happens that way, or let's say 99% of the time. I'll leave it open for that one person that it did happen to. But for most of us, that's not how it happens. So when you start chasing money, it's just easier to see that the grass is greener on the other side of the street, right? So I started freelancing, I started a blog, I started a primary care clinic, I started an IV hydration, I started transitional care. I started all these things, but I wasn't truly passionate about any of them. I just thought they'd be easy, like it'd be an easy way to make money. And I spent a lot of money learning that none of those things really aligned with what I wanted to do and what my passion was, or even how I like to work. So they crashed and burned. So I'm part of that 95% of businesses that fail because my passion and purpose weren't aligned. And then when the first obstacle came my way, I was just like, oh, well, this wasn't meant to be, that, I'm not supposed to do this, or this is too hard. The one thing that I have noticed, especially in our programs, is that when I'm interviewing or doing a webinar with a course director, they are so passionate about their topic, whether it's home care, private duty, IV hydration, concierge nursing, coaching, whatever it is, that person's really passionate about it. And they talk about the business like it's, really easy to start. So we get nurses that come into the program, come to find out that it's work. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And that work will be satisfying, and it will propel you forward if you're aligned with it. If you care about the population that you're helping, then it will be easier to do that work than if you're not aligned to it and you're just like, oh, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And if you don't do any of the steps to help you move the business forward, then it's not going to happen, right? So that's why it's really important to be aligned with your passion and your purpose. So what is it that you love to do? What is it that you really want? Because you don't really want just money, right? That's, like I said, money is just paper. What would you do with the money? So what would that passion be? Maybe you would send your kids to private school, right? So maybe your passion is your kids. So then you're in something for your children, so that they have the things that they need, they get the opportunities that they want. So that becomes the driving purpose of your business. Then you can decide how you like to work, because that's another thing. You don't want to, if you hate being on video, you don't want to become a YouTuber, right? That makes obvious sense. But it's less obvious when you start a business like IV hydration. And IV hydration is very people oriented, right? You have to work with clients. You have to work with your team. You have to work with other businesses. And if you don't like doing those things, you don't want to call in a business and let people know what you're doing, your business is going to struggle, and there's a good chance that it's going to fail. So you have to look at what the business really is before you go into it and make sure that you're aligned with it. We have a lot of nurses that go into that because they're very passionate about working with oncology patients, and they want to do high dose vitamin C because they know it's really effective and it helps them. So that drives them forward, right? So it's not just the money. And that's one way to really think about it. Would you do this business even if you didn't get paid? And that's a good question to ask yourself before you jump to both feet into starting a business, because it can be very, very expensive. And I don't want you to have to spend thousands of dollars before you figure out that your purpose wasn't aligned. And we do see this again with students that jump from course to course to course. And, I was one of those people years ago. I would jump from idea to idea. And even to this day, when I'm working with course directors, I think, oh my gosh, that course sounds so much easier than what I'm doing. Maybe I should start a private duty agency, or maybe I should start IV hydration again, or maybe I should start this or that. And, I just have to stop myself and say, you know what, those things are great, but they don't align with my purpose right now. And that's when you can start considering, hey, maybe I can invest in somebody who's doing this. Maybe I could set somebody up to start the private duty agency for me, and then I just take a percentage, or maybe I'll just invest in home health agencies in general on the stock market. So those are things that you need to think about. And another example would be, let's say you love yoga, right? But is this something you love yoga so much that you want to teach it to other people? If so, then this could certainly be a business. You can certainly be passionate about yoga and not want to make it your business, and that's okay. So all passions don't lead down the path of business. But if you do love teaching and you want to teach people things, and yoga is part of that, that can certainly become part of your business. But what you don't want to do is look at all your passions and say, yes, I'm passionate about yoga, I'm passionate about writing, I'll make that a business. If you don't want to teach other people how to do it, or you don't, writing in particular, if you don't want to write on certain topics that people are paying for, that could be problematic as well. So ultimately what you want to do is figure out what your purpose, your passion and your purposes are. And I would really just sit down, brainstorm some ideas, ask people what you're good at, what they think you're good at, and then you put down also what you think you're good at, what are the things that you're passionate about, and then find an audience as well that you really enjoy working with. Because ultimately, and you'll find this in the next series where you start looking for ways to find ideas for business, ultimately you have to find somebody that is willing to pay for the problem to go away. So when you're looking at your passion and purpose, also start looking at a clientele, like who would be your ideal person, who would you like to work with. And that is actually one of the key factors that's really wonderful about business, because in nursing in the hospital, you get whatever patient assignment they give you, right? It doesn't matter if it's a horrible assignment or not. In business, you get to pick and choose who you work with, and that is just phenomenal. All right, so the work that you need to do right now is just figure out what you love, how you love to work, and what you're good at. And once you have those three answers, then you can start searching for business ideas.